All right, welcome back to the latest episode of GPP Getting Past the Premium with Ryan Brott and Elliot Bassett. It's just us two today, dude. No guests.
That's it.
It's gonna be fun.
All right.
It's been a while since we just had one with no guest. Us two just chopping it up a little bit, huh?
I know it has. It's fun to have guests on, and it's cool to get different perspectives and whatnot. But it'll also be fun today to, get just get some of this energy off your chest, specifically around ChatGPT. I know you've just been going nuts.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I think what's going on with AI, with large language models, et cetera, it's going to be one of the biggest disruptors to our industry, I think. And I don't say that like meaning I'm not the doomsdayer that's going to replace our jobs. I think how we integrate and utilize these AI tools is going to be what changes the industry. You can talk about your kind of quote that you've heard and like to use, but I totally agree with, how this is going to integrate with the human to make us that much better, make us that much more productive, make us be able to provide more value to our clients. So I've just been trying to learn it. I don't know. I'm super early on, but it's been fun to figure out what it can do. So
I think that's the first step, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll try not to butcher this, but it's not mine. I saw it on LinkedIn somewhere. I'm not even sure who posted it, but the message
credit
was
to that person.
Yes. But the message was essentially, technology is, and specifically ChatGPT AI is not going to replace the broker, but the broker with AI is going to replace the broker without it. And I'm like, man, that's so true. I think, we're past the wave of technology trying to replace the independent agent. But we're certainly crazy to think that technology is not going to enhance our ability to increase our value proposition.
Absolutely. And I think, the crazy thing about AI with where it's at today is it's already incredibly good at the things it can do, but it only gets better. It learns based on, things that you enter in and how you ask it to do certain things. It will actually learn and get better over time. And do it at an exponential rate. And that's what's kind of scary, but also very cool. When you think about what we can do with it, right?
For sure. I mean, did you see that article I sent to you from NBC about the army of people that are training the ChatGPT models?
Yeah. Thousands of people.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, they've hired thousands of people, remote contractors in places such as Eastern Europe, Latin America, to label data or train the software. So, there are real humans behind this clicking buttons, trying to get it dialed in. It's wild. Yeah.
And so just some background, the little bit that I know about this, and I'm probably going to butcher it if somebody knows more than I do, and call me out for something I say wrong. But essentially, companies like OpenAI, Google, et cetera, are creating these large language models, which are essentially taking billions of data points from across resources on the internet. They've compiled them into a database, and then they're training these models to analyze that data in certain ways. Once they have, though, the system built, it's all about how you train it and how it learns. And so you might ask it to do a task, and that's what this army of people are doing, is they're asking it to do a task. The AI will spit back a result, and then they're saying, hey, that's what I was looking for, or it's not, and they rank it. And then the AI will learn based on that ranking, did it do a good job? Did it not, for what the human wanted out of it? And then it's going to train itself and it's going to learn. It's going to get better for the next time. So the next time, in theory, you ask it a similar question, it's going to get closer to the answer you wanted. And so that's
Mhm.
literally what these thousands of people are doing, is putting in these requests, this data, and asking for something back, and then they're ranking it, and they're doing that over and over and over to train the model to get better over time.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy when you think about what's going into it to get it where it's at, but it's also wicked good. How do you? I mean, we had. You remember the episode with Ryan Deeds where we talked about ChatGPT, one of the first ones we did about it,
How could you
um,
forget an episode with Ryan Deeds?
right? Great point. Um, like, how's your perception changed even since then about how ChatGPT can help the independent agent?
Yeah, I've been trying to really, a lot of the testing I've been doing in it and messing around with it has been, how could we actually have real world application of this, of these tools? And so I think at the high level, some very impactful ways you can use it is a lot of the things we talked to Ryan about, which, rewriting emails in a more professional manner, or summarizing data that you have that you can then send to a client. A lot of marketing and things like that. It's incredibly good at, right?
Mhm.
Content ideas and creation, right? So if you want to know, hey, tell me the top 10 things that a small business should be concerned about right now, it will give you a list of the top 10 things. Now, you got to remember, it's not going to be the most current data, because particularly ChatGPT's model is only taking into account data up to September of 2021. So that's always good to keep in mind. But you can ask it those things to have idea generation and to try to, get past that. If you're writing blogs, if you're, maybe you're going into a renewal meeting and you say, hey, I've got this client, here's what they do, what things should I be bringing up to them right now, to make them aware of, to give you some of those ideas that you can then take and make your own, figure out how you can present to your client, etc. I think those are a lot of the high level things that it is extremely good at. If you're having it cite any sources or pull any statistics, I would always recommend asking it to cite sources and dates, because you don't want to be pulling a source from 2005 or something, which it can do. It'll put them in there for you. But a lot of those are good things to, support or even idea generate things to talk to your clients about, right? Whether it be for marketing or in your meetings with them. It's extremely good at that stuff. But then I started to try to think, okay, what other pieces of the process that we have to go through to provide value to our client could this help us with, right?
Mhm.
And it performed better than I ever would have thought on pretty much every avenue. But I put a post on LinkedIn the other night. We think about our process that we've created over the last 6 or 7 years, and I literally sitting on my patio at home on an iPad had ChatGPT recreate the entire thing, give me all built assessments for me in areas that I asked it to. So as an example, I said, hey, I want to talk to my client about insurance, benefits, and safety, and how that risk, or what risks that may be associated with their business. Build me an assessment of X number of questions that I can go in and ask this client. Provide me 4 template response answers for each question, ranked on a scale of 1 to 4. And it populates that assessment for me. So, you think about that piece. It took us a long time to build the assessments that we
Mhm.
use today, right? And then it's saying, okay, here's how the client answered those questions. What does that tell you? What should I be concerned about? What should this client be concerned about?
Mhm.
And it will provide you a summary of, the common themes and risks in those answers. So on and so forth. Did that through our entire process, even got it to the point of writing my narrative to the underwriter for my insurance submission. And again, I don't think we got to keep in mind, it's not typically something you're just going to take and copy and paste into an email and send. You want to look at it, put it into your own words, make sure everything's accurate.
For sure.
It's going to get you 75% of the way there, though. And so there are very real world cases that you can apply this to, I think, that can really significantly upgrade your game.
Your game. Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. I can't help but to think, even launches mission plug for launch, I guess, real quick. But, we're helping these great independent agents scale, you know, by providing them the tools to help do the assessments, do the benchmarking, do the proposal and the presentation with their solutions included and whatnot. And to be able to have something like this that can help level up your game specifically around your value prop. How many independent agents are still selling on great service, price, all the other top of stack submission, that for a lot of these bigger competitive shops, it's table stakes. It's their value prop. The larger shops are around education and becoming that trusted, holistic risk management advisor. And I think tools like this help you start going down that path without having to, go to school, take a course, go to a big shop and learn their techniques. So,
Yeah, for sure. And that's, something we're pretty excited about is we're working to see how we could integrate this with the launch, and I don't know where that'll go, but again, it goes back to supporting that independent agent to be able to scale and to up your game and all of those things, and creating a very easy, simple way to do that is the goal. But yeah, I mean, you're spot on. And again, this to me levels the playing field significantly between the large, national brokers that have a ton of resources, that have built internal systems and, processes and marketing and all the
mhm,
stuff. I
mhm,
think it just now, if you utilize this technology in the right way, and you start to figure out how it can be implemented to provide value to your client, you just significantly jumped a lot closer to what they're doing,
for
and it
sure.
levels that playing field between you and what those firms have been doing for a long time, because they just have significantly more resources. You now have probably better resources at your fingertips.
Yeah. Well, think about how, I have conversations with um, people all the time that we're talking to, even around launch. And, the feedback that I get constantly is I'm afraid to start asking questions that I don't know the answer to. They're afraid if you're a PNC producer and you've done that for the last 15, 20 years, and you want to start a conversation with somebody about something in a different area, right? Employee benefits or, you know, um, anything. If you don't have at least a baseline level of knowledge in that area, you're going to be, the fear's too high to start going down that path. If the prospect or whoever you're sitting across the table from starts to ask you a couple questions, you're going to be like, oh no,
Mm.
you don't want to show your weakness. So, a couple things there, like I don't envision using, like, you don't have to have the solution to have more holistic risk management conversations utilizing a tool like ChatGPT, if that makes sense, right? It can provide you a base level of knowledge or at least bullet points to start talking through with somebody when you ask them that first question or second question, to go back and like level up your game to that point very quickly. And to be able to do that even without a solution certainly provides value and shows credibility and starts to put you in that more trusted advisor bucket. And that's super powerful.
Yeah, and it can do way more than provide the bullet points too. I mean, this is that exact scenario is an experiment I ran in it the other day. Said, I'm a PNC insurance advisor. I have this client. and told it what the client was or whatever, and then said, I want to open up the conversation about health insurance so that I can provide health insurance services to this client. How would you recommend I do that? And it provides 6 or 7 recommendations on things I could talk about, how I could go about opening up that conversation. And then you can just continue to take that a step further. You can say, okay, provide me a summary of that such that I could send it to the client that might get them interested in my services. Okay, write me a
Mm-hmm.
call script now if I want to call them and ask them about this. Okay, now I got a meeting with them. Give me the top 3 objections they may have for me that I need to be prepared to answer, and provide me the most recommended answer. And
Mm-hmm.
again, all these things are going to be, it's going to be different every time, but they're going to be pretty dang close to giving you the information you need. You could walk through that whole conversation, and it's going to give you a lot of the information you need to go and have that conversation. And again, you may want to get to be the expert in that area, but most of the time you're not trying to be the expert. You're trying to open up the opportunity to bring the
For
expert in,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
Even if that's a vendor partner that you have, go build a relationship with a health insurance firm,
Mm-hmm.
and bring them in to support this for your client. But again, you can almost role play that whole conversation, and it'll get damn close on how the client's going to respond, and what you should say next. And it'll give you template emails if you want, like I said, call scripts. I had it outline a presentation for me if I wanted to present on these topics. Like, it's crazy what it can do. But I think like the biggest barrier for people is, number one, it's like this seems like it's this complicated thing, right? Well, I don't know what AI is, and how am I going to do that? It's the way that they have ChatGPT has built their chatbot. It's very simple. It's just like you're talking to somebody almost.
Yeah.
So that's what I would recommend, is get in and just start asking it questions, and you'll figure out, like, now it's become this thing of like, oh, you got to be a good prompter to use it.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, sure, to get it
There are
really
certainly
optimal.
techniques around,
Yeah.
how to prompt, but
Just to get in and start asking stuff,
mm-hmm.
just you'll figure out, how you can ask different things in different ways to get a different result, or to get the result you want. But I'm telling you, you just get in and start asking it some questions. You'll be blown
Mm-hmm.
away by where you can get it to.
Yeah, 100%. It made me think when we were, Elliot and I were having a conversation with our development team for launch a couple weeks ago, and they said the next big career coming is chat GPT prompters.
Yeah, prompt writers.
Yeah, prompt writers. And it's kind of funny. It's like, well, certainly technology displaces jobs, but also opens up other massive doors. So you can be a prompter now if you want to.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's because that's where you can get it much more dialed in, but you don't have to. Again, to start, just get it and say, hey, here's what I'm trying to do. Right. I've got a client that is an electrical contractor. They've got 36 employees. I'm going to have their renewal. I do the property casualty insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what I should be talking to them about, and just see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. But I guarantee you'll be surprised at the things it brings up.
What are your thoughts about like arming the team with chat GPT to start experimenting with different ways of utilizing it? Like,
are you talking about like service team?
yeah.
Yeah. So this is a conversation we've started to have internally, so I think there's a major impact to and value to the sales side, right, of the organization, that ChatGPT and other AI tools can have. But then how can it support what we're doing on the service side and client retention, right? And I still think a lot of the same examples we've had can apply, right? I mean, you could certainly have an account executive that is preparing for a renewal for the client, could do the exact same things we talked about, right? To just prep them on things to talk about or whatnot. But we're really trying to think about internally, what are some ways that we could use this? But again, some general things are, you could tell it, you've got this information and I want to write an email to the underwriter to get the best pricing possible for this client, or whatever that be, or write me this email in a more professional manner so I can send it to my client. Things like that is I think very beneficial. I think it's just going to take, though, you've got to have people just testing it. I mean, that's the power of it. You got to have people with an open mind that just say, all right, it's something that we could test out. We don't know how we could use it yet. We don't know how it could impact what we're doing, but we know that it could be really powerful. I've heard of some companies, not in our industry, that have had every one of their team members on ChatGPT, and they're requiring them before they start a process to start it in ChatGPT. Every process they do, and just you got to figure out a way to prompt it to give you a result. And they're already seeing a 30% efficiency, productivity improvement in what they're doing. Again, different industry, completely different. But I think the same thing could apply if you really think about what we're trying to accomplish. I mean, think about a contract you read, and you could probably figure out ways to prompt it and enter information in and say, like, tell me what I should be concerned about here. Or,
for sure.
The possibilities are,
well, there's
wild.
So many problems that they face, and they could be small, right? It could be like, I don't know how to communicate this to a client. Please help me. But there's so many problems that you run up against, or tasks that are more just labor intensive than they should be. I had one this morning. It was a guy on the sales team asking for a way to craft an intro call. And, I'm like, dude, ChatGPT this. I mean, yes, sure, I could sit here for 15 minutes and get it perfect, or you could just utilize the tech and then have that baseline to tweak and work off of, and it cuts your time in half.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's the mental exercise too. If you got to take 30, 40 minutes to just mentally prepare an email or something like that, and you can get 3 ideas or examples from ChatGPT in 10 minutes, like, it's going to significantly speed up your rate of just mental exercise and taxing that you got to do.
For sure. You just don't know what you don't know till you get it in front of your team, and you have a bunch of people with open minds and they start utilizing it. I mean, you have no idea what it could help with inside your business.
Yeah. Well, think about, like, say an account executive, maybe that's a couple years into the role, isn't, true expert, but they've got, a tough situation they're dealing with a client, like an uncovered claim, or, high deductible that they got to explain to a client. Like, just think about being able to go in there and say, hey, I'm in the insurance business. I'm an account executive. I've got a client that has an uncovered claim due to hail and blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to figure out how I can best explain this to maintain our relationship and create a great client experience. And again, just see what happens. Like,
totally. Rate increases today.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Even from a management perspective, if you didn't want to roll this out to your whole team, right? Like, get feedback with what your team's facing on a daily, weekly basis, and then, throw it into ChatGPT and let it spit it back out to you and see what it says.
We're going to do some real-time stuff here.
It could give you some talking points to arm your team with that's valuable. So what experiment are you running, Elliot?
We're going to see what it would tell an account executive about having a hard time explaining high rate increases to their clients. Because, I mean, this is just the stuff that, again, I'm just putting it in real terms, of here's what I'm dealing with. And then you just ask it, can you provide me some examples? And then just keep prompting it from there. How I get best.
You should share your screen.
Yeah, so if people are watching on YouTube or whatnot, you'll be able to see this here in a second. But so I basically just prompted it to say, I'm an account executive that is in the insurance industry and having a hard time explaining the high rate increases to my clients. Can you provide some ideas of how I could best explain this to a client? And, it's giving me 3, 4 different, ideas of what I could highlight, how I could explain things, be transparent and proactive, simplify complex concepts, highlight external factors, explain risk and claims experience, showcase value, offer solutions, be empathetic and listen, follow up and provide ongoing support. I mean, that's 8 great examples that you would probably recommend to your, account executive if you were training them, right?
For
On how
sure.
to handle this.
See if it'll give you examples for number 2. Number 2 is simplify complex concepts. So I'm thinking about an account manager who's, it says break down the factors contributing to the rate increase in simple terms. So it's coming back. Number 1, inflation. Explain that as a cost of living and goods increases over time, so does the cost of providing insurance coverage. Here's an example. Quote, just like the price of groceries or gas goes up over time, the cost of providing insurance coverage also increases due to inflation. This affects the premiums we need to charge to continue providing you the same level of protection. Natural disasters. In recent years, we've seen an increase in the number of severity of natural disasters like hurricanes and wildfires. This has led to higher claims costs for insurance companies. And to cover these expenses, premiums need to be adjusted accordingly. I mean, this is where
changes in government regulations.
It's wild. And, these might not speak to you in your specific situation right off the bat, but you can take these and tell it to dive a little deeper, right? So it's like, well, you might be hesitant to use examples about wildfires and hurricanes, depending on where you're located geographically. So ask it to give you an example about something that is more relevant to you. And I don't think it's stumped. I don't think we've stumped it yet.
No, definitely not. So now I'm having it write an email that best explains these concepts to my client. And again, it's not the end all be all, but it gives you, it's like a thought partner. It's like having an expert sitting beside you that would be bringing these things up to you and say, hey, you know what, when you're dealing with rate increases, you should probably talk to them about inflation. That's been going up like crazy. Talking about all the natural disasters that have been going on. There's been a lot of changes in government regulations. We could discuss that with them too. And, technological advances, cost of stuff's going up. I mean, that is literally what an expert that's been in the business for 10 years would probably tell you. And that's what it's giving back to us. Now, are there other things that are nuanced that go into this? Absolutely. Would you copy and paste this email that it's writing for me right now? Probably not. But you can certainly get, again, 75, 80% of the way there by utilizing the tech to help you.
For sure. And 80% of the way there in, 25 seconds.
Yeah. How long have we been doing this? And I've got looks like a 2-page email that I could send to a client.
I certainly would, if you've got 2 producers who are a year into the business and you give one ChatGPT and you make the other one do it the old fashioned way, so to speak, my money's on the one with ChatGPT right now.
100%. Oh, I agree 1,000-fold.
So,
yeah, I mean, the application just gets broader and broader once you start to really dive in and think about it. And like, as we were doing this, what you were mentioning, Ryan, is super impactful is, ask your team what they're struggling with on a daily basis. And that doesn't mean that ChatGPT is the answer to it all. But again, if you can think about ways that it can support that team, and do things like we just walked through, where it's a thought partner to them, it provides them example emails or example call scripts or concepts to talk about, or et cetera, et cetera. You're also giving them a ton of confidence when they talk to that client, right? But I think there's a big training play in this too, right? I mean, a lot of what we run into from a training perspective in our industry is real world scenarios that you just have to almost live in order to learn. And
Yes.
if this is giving you every time, you got to have a conversation about a rate increase, and it's, giving you talking points, you're going to learn those over time.
Yeah.
And then you're going to go talk to your client, and, one's going to hit and one's not and stuff. And you're going to tweak your conversation for the next one. But again, it gives you that ability to almost train yourself over the course of time too.
Yeah.
It takes it off of us having to have trainers internally or spend the time to be the expert that's sitting next to him and saying, hey, here's how I would approach this situation. Or think about, if you are that trainer or expert, you've got this technology in the hands of your team. They're doing this research in ChatGPT, and they're coming to you then and saying, okay, I've got this coming up. Here's what I'm thinking. I've got these 4 bullet points that I'm thinking about talking about. And here's, my email that I've written up, I want to send to them. And it, is based on the information they got from ChatGPT. I mean, that's huge. That's huge.
Yep. I don't know. It's super exciting. It's super exciting to experiment with. It's super exciting to have the mindset that, you want to explore a new frontier. This is like Lewis and Clark for you and I today. In
Yeah.
2023, like it's like we want to get out and explore and see how this thing can add a ton of value to what we're doing from multiple facets, and that it's super exciting on
Absolutely.
a day in day out basis.
Yeah. And I think it's the time for people just to start learning it and testing it out, seeing how it could fit in, because it's moving at a very, very fast pace. And, I really think that if you're not at least just, it doesn't have to be complex. Just get in and start to use some of these tools, test them out. You can use ChatGPT for free. There is a paid version if you want, but you can use it for free. Log in and just start asking it questions and see what it'll get you. This is a massive opportunity for those that want to take advantage of it, and it is a massive threat for those that don't. So think about that.
Great way to end it.
Yep. Think about that in your daily, life and agency, and test it out. Let us know what you find out. We'd love to, have some conversations online about what and how you've used it, and what we can continue to do to test it out. And we're going to keep figuring ways to use it out as well. So excited to keep that moving.
Yeah. Keep you posted on developments. I get to hear them every morning at 8:15.
Yeah. Well, it's fun.
It is.
All right, everybody. All right. Thank you. We will catch you next week.
See ya.